These next 10 years are about to look real interesting. Love him or hate him, Mayor Eric Adams has a plan to create more housing for New York City residents, and it's officially been approved. They're calling it the City of Yes. And the truth is, we haven't really been building much new housing lately. Just look at our production over the last few decades. As housing production continues to decline, our population has been steadily increasing, and this obviously is going to cause an issue. So something that he's been working on with the governor for a few years now is to convert underused offices into new homes. You know, those offices that we were using prior to 2020. Building more homes not only provides a place for people to live right now, but it could possibly lower rents for the future since you're bringing more supply to the market. New York City has an affordable housing crisis, and if you bring more supply to the market, meaning homes, you effectively increase competition amongst developers, landlords, and owners, which means that tenants will have more to choose from, which could effectively lower prices or at least stabilize them a bit. So how exactly are they going to make this concept of 100,000 new homes a reality? Well, let me show you the plan for the next decade. Now, to get this done, there's a few main things that they need to go right in order for this to work. Let's start with the most important, which is helping office buildings convert to housing. This is going to include new housing and shared housing where apartments share spaces such as the kitchen and other facilities such as the bathroom. Now, I know this may sound odd to a few, but I highly believe that in the future, shared spaces will be a lot more common, especially as prices tend to increase, not just for housing, but everything around us. I think we'll be more in a shared economy than ever before. They're gonna help these conversions happen by relaxing regulations, which will promote more development. And this has already started with a lot of well-known buildings. So think about the Flatiron Building in New York, the Pearl House, and even One Wall Street, which is probably one of the biggest known office to housing conversions that has happened recently. Here's the next thing that they plan on doing, which I am definitely a fan of, which is giving homeowners the option to add small rental units to their property. Homeowners will now be able to convert their garages, add backyard units, and make their basement apartments legal. Now, this is something that's already happening in California, specifically with ADUs. Not only does this provide additional space for people to rent out and contribute to more housing, but it also provides additional income to the homeowner for a space that they may not necessarily have been using anyway. Next up, we have more flexible zoning laws. This is going to allow construction for new buildings to take place in areas where it would once be considered illegal. A lot of the zoning in New York City doesn't necessarily reflect where we are today as a society. A lot of the neighborhoods are zoned for commercial office spaces. And in a world now where a lot of people are working remotely, we don't necessarily need that much office spaces. So if you walk around a lot of places in New York, specifically Manhattan, you'll find that a lot of them are actually vacant office spaces. They're not being used. So why not find a better use and also solve a problem at the same time by converting these office spaces into housing? Also, they're going to provide tax incentives to support the development. Now, I think this one's pretty obvious, but when you have these tax incentives, it makes it a lot more attractive to developers. They know that their bottom line will be met with these tax incentives, and this write-off will make the project worth it. And the thing is, this could also help with the affordability of the new housing because the tax incentives usually go to developers who provide a certain number of affordable units within their project. If you don't provide this many affordable housing, then you don't get the tax incentive. Another thing that they are doing is allowing conversion to take place in high density areas, such as Midtown, downtown Flushing, and the Bronx. These areas could definitely use a lot of this conversion for new housing. And one of the last things they plan on doing is to provide less parking. Yes, less parking. See, the main idea is to ease or completely remove the requirements when it comes to parking and new buildings. See, before, apartment buildings were required to have a certain number of spaces based on the number of units that that building would have. If you remove this requirement, it not only allows for more opportunities depending on the area because they don't have to provide parking, but that space that would be utilized for parking could essentially be another unit as well. Relaxing these laws are going to allow for more apartments in backyards and taller buildings. And before, creating new parking in Manhattan was already kind of optional, but now all the other boroughs will have that flexibility as well. And the truth is, as much as I love to find parking when I go to Manhattan, less than half of New York households actually own a car to begin with. We're also not alone in this. Places like San Francisco, Austin, Minneapolis, they have all adopted this idea of having less parking in exchange for more housing. Now, how do you feel about having less parking if it potentially means having lower rents and more housing? I'm going to do an entire video on parking and what's going to happen in the future, especially for big cities, so stay tuned for that. So what does all this mean for you? Well, it means more opportunities if you will be searching for an apartment. It means that we have the chance to get more affordable housing because there'll be more inventory on the market, which means that there'll be more competition. So if people have more to choose from, they're not stuck taking a bad deal because they know there's another apartment down the block waiting for them. In the next 10 years, we can expect a lot more inventory on the market. And if there's more inventory on the market, once again, that is going to mean at least stabilized prices or potentially lower prices since there's going to be more competition. You're going to want to check out the affordable housing lotteries and check out websites such as housingconnect.com and keep track of all the new buildings that are going to be going up around New York City. It could also mean possibly cheaper rents in the future. Now, don't expect prices to literally plummet overnight. That's not going to happen. But at least it could stabilize the market a bit, and instead of getting these 15% increases in 2 to 3 years, there may be 2 to 7% depending on the neighborhood. Overall, there's not enough affordable housing in New York City, and one of the simplest ways to reduce the price of something is to increase the supply of it. But what do you think? Do you think they will be capable of delivering on this plan, or do you think it's just a shot in the dark? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.